They disrespected you, and you did nothing. And somewhere deep inside you, that silence felt like shame, like you failed yourself, like you should have said something. I'm here to tell you that silence wasn't failure. It was the first intelligent decision you've made in a long time. Because here is what nobody tells you about disrespect. It is not an attack. It is a test. And the moment you react, the moment you raise your voice, send that message, or explain yourself to someone who already decided your value, you fail the test. Every single time. Think about the last time someone dismissed you. Maybe it was in a room full of people. Maybe it was someone you trusted. Maybe it was quiet. A look, a tone, a moment where you felt yourself shrink, and you felt the fire rise inside you. That burning need to correct them, to make them see you differently, to restore something they took. That fire is real. I'm not going to tell you it isn't. But that fire, uncontrolled, is exactly what they were counting on. There is a particular kind of person who has learned to use your emotions against you. They don't need weapons. They don't need power. They just need your reaction. Because your reaction confirms everything they needed to believe about you. That you are predictable. That you are manageable. That you can be moved. And the terrifying truth is, they were right. Until now. You have been living like a man whose doors have no locks. Anyone who wanted access to your peace walked straight in. Anyone who wanted to destabilize you knew exactly which words to use. And you gave them that map. Every time you reacted, every time you explained, every time you needed them to understand, you drew them the map yourself. Let me show you what is actually happening beneath the surface of disrespect. Because most people never look this deep. And it is the reason they keep losing the same war in different rooms. When someone disrespects you, they are not reacting to who you are. They are reacting to who they need you to be. Small people require small environments to feel safe. And if you are growing, if something in you is shifting, becoming harder to read, becoming quieter and more deliberate, that terrifies them. Not because they hate you, because your evolution makes them aware of their own stillness. Disrespect is the weapon of a man who has run out of ways to keep you manageable. So what do you do with that? Nothing. Not the nothing of defeat, not the nothing of fear. The nothing of a man who has already finished the conversation in his mind and moved on before they finished their sentence. The nothing of someone who looked at the situation, calculated the cost of reacting, and decided, you are not worth that price. There is a version of you that most people in your life have never met. He does not need to be understood. He does not need to be validated. He does not need the room to go quiet when he walks in, because he carries his own silence with him. He is not cold because he is broken. He is cold because he has been through enough heat to know that fire without direction destroys the man holding it. That version of you is built in moments exactly like this one. Every time you absorb disrespect without reacting, you are not swallowing your pride. You are converting it. You are taking something that was meant to diminish you and feeding it directly into the foundation of who you are becoming. That is not weakness. That is the most precise form of discipline a man can practice. And discipline, real discipline, is not about what you do. It is about what you refuse to do. I want you to think about the men you have watched from a distance and quietly respected. Not the ones who were the loudest, not the ones who won every argument. The ones who moved through rooms like they already knew how the story ended. The ones who absorbed chaos without becoming it. The ones who, when tested, became more still, not less. You were watching mastery. You were watching a man who had fought his own reactions long enough that they no longer controlled him. And what looked like coldness from the outside was something else entirely on the inside. It was clarity. It was the peace of a man who no longer needs external circumstances to confirm his internal worth. That peace is available to you, but it has a price. The price is this: you have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to let people believe your silence is weakness, your stillness is fear, your absence is defeat. You have to be willing to disappear from their narrative entirely and build something in the dark that they will only see when it is already finished. Because here is the final truth about disrespect that nobody is brave enough to say out loud. The people who disrespected you were not wrong about the version of you that existed then. That version was accessible. That version was reactive. That version needed their approval to feel stable. They measured that man correctly. But that man is already dying. What is replacing him does not need to announce itself, does not need to correct the record, does not need to return to rooms where it was once dismissed and demand a different reception. What is replacing him simply becomes quietly, completely, and without permission from anyone who doubted him. So the next time someone disrespects you, and they will, because people do not change their behavior until your change forces them to do absolutely nothing. Not because you are afraid, not because you have forgiven them, not because you are the bigger person. Do nothing because you have already decided where you are going. And they are not on the route. Every reaction you withheld was a brick. Every silence you held was a wall. Every moment you chose to disappear instead of defend yourself was a door closing on a version of you that no longer exists. They disrespected you, and you did nothing, and that nothing is going to become everything. If this hit different, subscribe. I post this every week for people who are building,